Hello, everyone. I have with me here the President and CEO of Arts Umbrella, Paul Larocque. Well, it was very interesting, Paul, that very recently the Globe and Mail had a big story about Arts Umbrella. I mean, I was thrilled to read it. I'm sure you were over the moon on it because, you know, Arts Umbrella is the only program of its kind in all of Canada that reaches out to kids. You guys say 2 to 22, to give them this sort of grounding in arts and music and theater and visual painting and dance. I mean, it's really a going concern. And to think you guys only started in what, the 1970s with 40 students? And if so, tell me, how did you manage to keep this going for such a long time, starting, of course, with Carol Enriquez, who was the founder?
Yes, and I have to say that it's been wonderful throughout our entire history. You've been such a champion for this organization and for the arts and the important role that the arts play in the lives of young people. And to have seen this organization grow as it has over the last 42 years to where it is today, and where we're now in this amazing new facility on Granville Island in the former Emily Carr University South Building. It's an amazing thing to have witnessed, and I've certainly been involved with Arts Umbrella in one way or another for the last 25 years. But that article in the Globe and Mail by Marcia Lederman, that was really such an important thing to read. Of course, she was really focusing on the important role that arts and arts education play in the lives of young people, but with that special lens of really during a pandemic, it's even more important than ever, and to know that young people now need the arts in their lives.
Tell me about that. Why do young people need the arts in their lives? You know, because a lot of people are going to say, what? This kid could be out there kicking a ball, getting physical exercise, keeping their hearts healthy. And yet I know, and I agree with you, that this is so important for young children and young people to be able to introduce at a very early age to the arts in every form. Why? What does this benefit them?
Well, what we see here, and certainly there has long been research around the important role that arts education plays in developing a lot of those skills that are much more aligned with STEM, you know, but including, among other things, critical thinking, problem solving. But more than that, and certainly highlighted in that article in the Globe and Mail, Marcia was able to cite research that confirmed what we have been saying for such a long time around the important role that when young people engage in the arts in a meaningful way, they develop empathy and compassion. And these are really important things for young people to develop at that stage, because it also gives them courage to be who they are at the same time, and to really explore their own interests in the arts, whether it's a young person who is working through a theater program or a painting and drawing or dance or film. Each young person will really follow an area of interest that is deeply meaningful to them. And through that process, the results are really amazing. And that word courage is something that we use a lot. It gives young people the courage to be who they are. And when they have that sense of conviction, their empathy and compassion for people around them, it's
but
really
I have read data that this is for the more pragmatic parent who say, I can teach my kid courage, I can teach my kid self-confidence. But the fact is that it is shown that kids who do music do better in math. It is shown that
Definitely.
kids who do dance actually gain a deep sense of self-confidence and balance and physical, the sort of physical balancing that they need to be able to use their muscles and to dance. We know that, you know, the ability for children to be able to express themselves at a very early age when their brains are just being formulated is really important, because the century that we're in right now is a century of, as you said earlier on, critical thinking, the ability to be creative, the ability to be able to communicate, that those abilities are going to be as important, as you say, as STEM, because they are going to be the jobs for tomorrow. And so I,
Yeah.
you know, I read all about it and I thought, you know, this is such a great program, what you're doing. But why is it that Arts Umbrella is only in Vancouver and Surrey? Can you tell me why?
Well, I think it's an amazing story, and it's certainly one, particularly with the community and the collaboration with government and corporate, that we're involved in really ensuring that this incredible new building that we've just moved into is here, is, I think, validation for the important role that this community has seen and witnessed when Arts Umbrella has been able to serve year upon year. It's now like 24,000 young people a year, with more than 80% being served through programs that reduce entirely the cost, or through bursaries and scholarship programs. And to see the impact that it has on our community, making the community a healthier community. There is such an important emphasis, more than ever, on the mental health of our community, and the arts and arts education, and by extension, Arts Umbrella have a really important role in ensuring that our communities are healthy and that young people are being raised and engaged.
I remember sometime in the just in the very early 20s, I brought Sheila Copps, who had been the Minister for Heritage for such a long time, and an extraordinary one she was too. I brought her to see Arts Umbrella, and she was blown away. And but for the fact that she didn't run again in 2003, she wanted to introduce this across the country in all the schools and for all young people, because she understood what it did and what it brought. And then she didn't run again in 2003, and a new government came in and did not feel that strongly about it. But I think it's something that I would love to see Arts Umbrella take this across the country. I mean, you're also doing diversity work. You're working with Indigenous communities right now, aren't you? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, one of the programs, and this is through the gift of technology, we are a partner with a program called Connected North. And it's an amazing program that brings instructors across all areas of education and interest. But in our case, theater and the visual arts, into communities across Canada's most remote and northern areas. Many of these are largely Indigenous communities, and we are going live into the classrooms, teaching theater and teaching visual arts. And it's an extraordinary thing that also gives our teachers the opportunities to grow and develop as well, particularly during COVID, when so many of our programs here across Metro Vancouver, programs into schools and community centers, neighborhood houses, BC Children's Hospital, they all had to pivot very quickly and to go online. And we're developing our skills and experiences to be able to do that in a way that is really engaging. And it takes both experience from the instructional side, but also the technology to support it. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that stay on post-COVID as well.
I'm hoping that people in Ontario could click on to your virtual and see exactly what you do. And I know that this is something that I have always had a vision for, that we were going to be able to do Arts Umbrella across the country. But I think it's something that what is interesting to me about this program is that, you know, I understand that, yes, people leave the program and go on to become mathematicians and creative thinkers and, you know, poets and authors, and actually get into all kinds of work academically, etc. But I think the question that I wanted to ask you was, I hear the rumor that BC Ballet, which, as you know, is the third ranked ballet company across North America, gets a whole lot of their new troops every year from Arts Umbrella. It must mean you have a great dance program.
The dance program at Arts Umbrella has become world famous, and certainly we are so proud for many years to have partnered with Ballet BC. And yes, indeed, many of our graduates become apprentices and part of the company at Ballet BC, and it continues this year, for example.
Yeah.
And as well, our dancers are leaving here and going to some of other companies throughout the world, some of the greatest contemporary ballet companies, including, of course, Ballet BC in that category. It's an amazing thing, and that synergy between Ballet BC and Arts Umbrella has really been so critical to the success of our program, for sure, to have that link with a professional company.
And I think for Ballet BC, it's also been an extraordinary partnership, because they're getting these well-trained dancers who are going to come, and you know, Ballet BC is well known for its innovative and creative ballet. You know, who would have thought you would have had, like, what, a little under 6 foot puck in the Fairy Queen? I mean, people didn't do that, but it really has been great. I just wanted to say that I haven't seen your new digs, and I would love to come and see it on beautiful Granville Island. But I do know that, and I don't know if you know, that you got the largest grant out of the Cultural Spaces program out of Heritage Canada ever. And it's what, $7 million, and that it was an extraordinary thing. And the province put in about 1.4, and the city put in some money. So hello, there we are. You have now got great one. I remember coming sometimes to hold arts and cultural round tables, where the table that we were using was full of paint and ink and scratches and stuff into that little place that we had before. And so it's great to see you spread your wings.
I just want to say that lead gift from the Department of Canadian Heritage really ignited the whole program, including so much of the generosity from individuals and corporations who were really looking for that kind of demonstration of support from government. And in addition to that 7 million through the Cultural Spaces program, we have our capital campaign, but we've also raised more than 10 million for an operating endowment, which is going to be critical. And we have received to date through those permanently endowed funds an additional 2.6 million through the Canadian Cultural Investment Fund program. And so, and that will continue as more commitments continue to be made to that fund. And so the support from our government it has been remarkable. And then while all of this was happening and we were in the final year of completing this campaign and working through all sorts of challenges due to the pandemic challenges that really had an impact on the construction. The extraordinary support through the wage subsidy, among many other funds, that kept us in place and our program in place. It's been really just remarkable at every turn.
But that's because, Paul, of the excellence of that program. Arts Umbrella is such an excellent program. I remember when I was first elected in 1993, meeting Carol Henriquez, who brought me in by the scruff of my neck and made me see what you were doing then. And you were looking for money to be able to expand at the time, small amount that it was. But I think, let's hope, Paul, thanks for taking the time to come and talk to me about what is a remarkable program. And I'm hoping that that in fact, this could find its way through the Globe and Mail article into the whole of Canada, where all the young people there from 2 to 22 can actually have their self-confidence, their ability to do math, to think creatively, to be in this new 21st century world in which it is important for them to be participating in that world. I'm hoping we can spread it across Canada and see a BC grown idea come to fruition. So thanks for taking the time, and I'm looking forward to coming and visiting your new site and seeing what wonderful things you're doing. I miss your fundraiser where we used to see your students perform, and it was a wonderful event. But thank you for taking the time, Paul. And I want to say, let's try, you and I, to put our heads together and see how we can get this across Canada.
Definitely. And we have a date. I can hardly wait to welcome you to the new Arts Umbrella.
Thank you. Bye, Paul.
Thank you.